Hey, what's up, traders? This is the watch list video for Friday. I almost said Thursday. Friday, January 21st. Showing you the daily SPY, which has been down 5 days in a row, basically. We had a green day in there that closed above its open, but still kind of in a free fall, well below that 50-day that I've been talking about over the past couple weeks. That 50 days kind of been holding it. The 200 days, not on this chart, but it's worth noting. 441.68. So getting kind of close to the 200 day. Anyway, weak market. We've been talking about, kind of underlying weakness for a while, and now we're finally seeing it, which explains my watch list, which is probably 60% bounce plays, or I should say potential bounce plays. Let me start off by showing you DWAC, though I called it Tokyo in this one. Maybe I have to go to 2-minute candles to kind of show it to you. Probably looked shortly after this, and I took a poll in the room. I called DWAC as a Tokyo, and it was interesting to me because, obviously we've been making a killing in this one, day trading it lately, right? And so today gapped up a little bit, sold off, and then took out the highs. And it was getting kind of interesting as it was flagging, and then it rolls over and takes out the low of day, right? So at this point, because it's a recent high flyer and then, kind of a failed bounce this morning, takes out the low of day, you can kind of dismiss it as a long for a while, right? And say, well, shorts are in control today. The next thing you know, wait for the volume to start coming in. There it was. The volume starts coming in. My thinking was, shorts now are in trouble if this breaks the high of the day with as strong as this thing's been recently. So I called a Tokyo trade, which just basically means, for those of you that aren't course takers or aren't really familiar, haven't been in our chat room very long, or haven't been in our chat room at all, if I call a Tokyo on something, it means I'm going to take it long right here. And it was probably about, the next candle had already started. It was probably about 82 bucks. I took a poll. Most of you got it right around 82 bucks. But remember, when I call a Tokyo, it cannot be above the earlier high, which was 82.68. So if I call it, by the time you bring it up and look at it, it's at 83.50. You don't take it, right? You want to make sure it's still below the earlier high of day. So anyway, most of you got it at 82, and lo and behold, it goes all the way to 87. That was my biggest trade of the day. It was really, really nice to get because there haven't been a lot of great setups lately. So anyway, there's the daily. It ended up closing about where it opened. Needless to say, I'm going to keep this one on a chart because it's been very good to us. I would like to see it come back in for a couple days, but you could still argue it's worth having on a chart because it held up pretty well in a very weak tape. Again, I'll remind you what the SPY looks like, and if I show you the intraday on the SPY, you can see the SPY held up most of the day. This was the opening candle right here. Held up most of the day, and nasty sell-off at the end of the day. So, keep that in mind. So anyway, what are we watching for tomorrow? Again, I'm a day trader, so keep that in mind. I'm looking for things to take a trade in tomorrow if I get an A+ intraday setup. 8 p.m., massive volume and a pretty strong day considering the weak tape. I already told you DWAC is going to go back on watch. Peloton, PTON. Let's look at the 5-minute chart on this one. Off a cliff today. I think the CNBC headline was about them stopping production of their bikes, and I think they've already stopped production of their treadmills or something. You have to read the article, but certainly didn't sound good, and this thing just fell apart, bounced, and ended up going right back out at its lows. If we go to the weekly, you can see all-time lows on this, 1770. So we're kind of headed down. I don't know if we're going to get there or not, but I'm definitely going to keep this on watch for a potential. Let's go back to the daily. That didn't work. For a potential watch tomorrow, preferably kind of on bounce watch, but we'll see. I'd like to see it sell off for another day or two, to be honest with you. MTTR getting very close to all-time lows, and it's just been straight down. It's not like a pretty chart, but I'm going to put it on oversold bounce watch, right? Again, I'll only take it with a proper intraday setup. Same thing with RIVN. It's just hitting new lows every day for the past few days. We're going to look for an oversold bounce on that one. BCRX, really nice move, and like 5 days down in a row. Actually pierced the 20-day today. Putting that back on bounce watch. SBEV, really big move. Then the gap up, couple red days, goes on bounce watch. It's a recent high flyer, so want to keep it on watch. Same thing with BBIG, recent high flyer, couple red days on declining volume, goes on bounce watch. X, which is U.S. Steel, has held this $20.50 area pretty well. Here, 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 and it's getting there in a hurry. 4 or 5 days straight down till we get down to that area. That's a pretty good recipe for a snapback bounce. Again, we're going to keep an eye on the overall market on any of these because the overall market obviously can play a role. And then lastly, I threw SGLY on watch just because of the relative strength. It's been pretty strong lately and it's held up pretty well in a week tape. We'll watch the gappers in the pre-market, add that. Any gappers that we think are relevant to this list, and hopefully there'll be plenty to trade tomorrow. I'm out of here. I'm done babbling. We'll see you guys in the morning.